This
It's a
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So yeah. So uh, we're going to talk about different stages or different processes in BA, and this is
Mhm.
what we are going to discuss for next few days. Okay.
Good.
Um, the first step is you analyze the business. Okay. So we spoke about the external factors, right? Challenges, problems, external factors. So and so the enterprise is the step where probably when you join, you may not be doing this part as of now. Generally, senior BAs, who has been in company for 20, 30 years, like you have chief operating officer and people like that, they would perform these activities. But
Oh, okay.
they, they might take your help in doing some bits and pieces, right? So they might
Hmm.
ask you to do some research on, and generally these decisions are kind of confidential at this stage. When they're doing the analysis, it's more like confidential. And when they decide what to do, then that's when they make it public. So you might get involved in some kind of, say, research work or some kind of input or, you know, uh, doing some kind of analysis for them. So it could
Okay.
be a bigger analysis being done at CXO level, but it's good. Of course, like they would, they don't work, right? I mean, it will trickle down
Hmm.
to people like us, but then there could be multiple views, and then so they typically because see, this decision is important. This is what you are planning for next 1 year, right? At least for next
Hmm.
1 year. If you get this wrong, then as a company, you not only lose 1 year, you not only lose money in doing a project which probably is not relevant, but
Hmm.
you go behind 1 year compared to your competitors. Right? So here,
Hmm.
so they look at all the aspect, company strength, and then decide that okay, this is what company should be doing for next 1 year. So it could be like focusing on what should we do. Like okay, so this year let's focus on customer service because our customer service score is really very bad, and we should try to improve our customer service. Okay, or this year like let's target to capture market share. Okay, so we don't care about margin. We'll sell our products cheap, but we want to capture market share.
Market
Or this
shares. Yeah.
year right? Or a reverse way that this year let's target to improve our margins, right? So all those decisions are done. Or let's say let's this year let's try to improve our employee um,
Satisfaction.
retention
Yeah.
or satisfaction score and things like that. Yeah. So they look at various aspects and then there's because see every company everybody wants to do 100 things, but you have limited resource. You cannot do all the 100 things. So they figure out what is the most important for the company at that point of time. So these are done based on various research reports and the internal surveys that you would be doing and things like that. And then you create a decision package. Decision package is like this is what we are going to do, why we are going to do, what kind of impact it will have. Okay, so it's like creating a business case. Okay, so that package is then presented to the board or to the department head, the decision makers basically.
Hmm.
They will ask their own questions, right? They will ask their own questions of why this, why now, okay, why not something else, why this solution, things like that. And only when they are satisfied, okay, they think that the CXO people they think that yeah, this is the right approach as a company we should be doing this year. That's when they make. And so the next step is put that in vision and scope of the company. So if it is no, if they find out there's a problem with your analysis, they will ask you to redo the work. They say no, what you said we cannot do it. Can you redo the stuff? So again, you go back to drawing board and again you perform the analysis and analyze the enterprise. Okay, analyze the enterprise means analyzing the business. Okay. Then second step, if they accept you come up with vision and scope. So when CEOs say that this year our target is to improve our success, revenue by 2%, that 2% has actually come from this process. So they have done this process uh, before, and everybody has agreed that we should be able to increase our revenue by 2%, and then that becomes a documented uh, thing for the whole company. You come up with vision and scope. So see, how to read this diagram is the rectangle boxes that you see
Mm-hmm.
are the different stages in BA. We'll be talking about these stages in detail, and every stage has a box which has curve right at the bottom. Those are documentation. So we have to create a document for each of these stages. So
Oh.
you have a vision and scope report, which will talk about company's vision and scope. Then, so now let's take an example that company decides that we have to improve our uh, revenue by 2% this year. Our goal is to improve our revenue by 2%. Now, what happens is, what does that mean for every department? Okay, or even I'm saying at company level, it could be at department level, right? So at
Mm-hmm.
department level, what would it mean for the employees? Okay, so this would mean that we need to hire probably more people. It means that probably you need to hire more sales staff, maybe. Okay, so those are part of planning requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this would mean having a better sales system. Okay, so analyzed enterprise goes beyond IT, goes beyond the system software, right? Because one thing is that it's all about the business. It's not about the software, right? It's about the business. You want to
Business.
improve business, and because of that, you need to improve your IT or need to have your better solution and things like that. Now, it could be a bank who wants to um, start giving more loans this year, right? So that is a business problem. And because of that, when they start planning the requirements or they're starting creating the vision and scope, they would say that, okay, our loan management software is not good. We need a system software to manage our loan process better. We
Mm-hmm.
need a record, which will help to expedite the loan process so that we could offer more loan to the people, right? So these are some of the resultant of the big business decision that has been made as part of analyzed enterprise. Okay, they would not start with the discussion that we want to have a software to do XYZ. They'll start like, okay, this is a business problem, and to do this, we need, we need to align our sales staff. We need to have a couple of softwares, and that's when, and of course, like our interest is in software, so we'll only view from software's
Mm-hmm.
perspective. So this could be a bank or insurance company or a healthcare company.
Mm-hmm.
Once they define the vision and scope, that's when they'll invite IT companies. So let's say, as part of your project, if you have to develop a software system, then you'll ask Accenture or TCS to come in and um, you know give you suggestion. Right now, you decide. Now, as a part of the analyze the enterprise itself, you will decide whether it will be done by your in-house team or your. So in analyze
Oh.
enterprise, you identify the problem, business challenge, and also the solution approach. Okay, and we'll talk about in detail. So you talk about solution approach as well, right? In solution approach, you will say that who will work on it, whether you will work on it or
Mm-hmm.
you'll have outsource it to third party, right? So then you start negotiating, you start talking to third parties and telling that this is what we want. So the third party, now it doesn't really matter BA whether you are talking to a third party or it's your own IT company. Uh, does that it mean that planning requirements will be done by your own employee associate if you are talking about in-house project, outsourcing project? The planning requirements will be done by the third-party company.
Third
That's it.
part.
So they will start talking to you. So because the request will come from business side, right? Till
Mm-hmm.
now, you have the business people talking about what should we be doing as a business for next 1 year. Now you will be talking from planning requirements is from the BA perspective. BA will say, okay, tell me what you want to do. Okay, what is the timeline? What all things you want to do. So then you will identify, okay, these are the different work that we are supposed to do. They'll say that we need, something to be done within 6 months, or within 1 year, or and again, it's a discussion. They'll say these are the things, or these are the features that we need. Okay, so at this level, it's not very clear. Okay, but what kind of software needs to be done, and kind of you have the rough idea of timeline and the cost.
Mhm.
Okay, that's when you will be able to work plan. Requirements work plan is created on paper, which talks about, okay, the different activities that we will be performing, and this is a timeline associated with that. So once planning is approved by you and your stakeholders, as I said, could be internal, external. That's when then you start actually eliciting the requirements. So this is the core role of BA. Okay. So when you join, probably this is where you'll be spending a lot of your time eliciting requirement, talking to customer based on the work plan, and getting more information about what they need. Okay. Um, See, every business will have their own way of working, right? Even if they are in same industry, if they are like cut, you know, main competitors to each other, still their process will be different. Okay, so let's say you come from one company, and you're doing something similar work for another of similar company that you have come from, but still, you'll be able to understand probably 70% of what they are doing. Still, that
Mhm.
20 to 30%, you have to ask them, okay, how is they different from your previous company? You cannot assume that it's exactly like yours. So that's when you will be talking to those companies, getting more information. And once you get, so analyzing enterprise, is the core job, as I said, and it is more from um, like you're talking. Okay, so theoretically, to read as a topic of discussion, it's not much. It's like go to field and talk to your customer. But
Mhm.
practically, when you are performing VA work, this is the most crucial, longest kind of BA process, and most crucial because the kind of questions that you ask, the kind of response you will capture, will dictate the solution that is going to be built in future.
Mhm.
Right? Right? So it is about, so that's why there's no document associated with it. Okay, you're talking and probably noting down your own in your own ways. The next step is important from theoretical perspective. Okay, this is where you have different tools, BA tools, different concepts, different logic, and in our course also we'll be spending a lot of time. I would say 30% of time we'll be spending on this analyzing and documenting the requirements. Okay, so this is where now you have heard from your customer. Now you have to put it in a format in which your technical team will understand. Right? So the and when you are doing it, you have to be careful that you are not uh, telling in few words. Okay. No. So let's say you have let's say I'm the technical person. Supposed to do the coding, and you tell me what you have heard there. Now you have to explain to me, or you have, and of course, like it's not face to face, but you'll be putting in the in the in document. So you have to put that in such a way that I get exactly same view or thinking that you got, right?
Uh-huh.
If you do not put it in right, if you have say a lot of open things, then I'll have to assume my own stuff, which probably
Mhm.
may not be right for business, right? And since most likely, okay, the person who's me, okay, playing the role of the technical person, may not know ABCD of pharma company, right? So absolutely no idea about what you are talking about. but you have to explain me in such a way that I get exactly the same picture which you got when you spoke to customer. So, and there are different, again, as we get into details, you'll understand. So, this is the most crucial part of BA.
Mm-hmm.
Asking the, talking to customer, getting and trying to understand what they want from the system, okay, and then putting them in a document that is understood by your technical team. That's it.
Technical. Yes.
That's simply put, this is the role of a BA, core BA. When somebody says core BA activities, this is the core BA activities. All the other things are you're doing it because you have to do it so that you get down to this work.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes into BRD. Okay, that goes into business requirement documentation. The document that you will create is called BRD. Now, then after BRD is created, then you have assessing and validating the requirements. Okay, so after BRD, the stage which is not shown here is a project management stage. Okay, since it is out of scope for BA, that's why it's not shown. So after you write the BRD, there will be technical person, architect kind of person, who would take your BRD and convert into what is called as SRS, software requirement specification.
Mm-hmm.
So BRD is still about more about business, and SRS, software requirement specification, is more from technical perspective. So as you get more experience as BA, in future you should be able to write SRS also.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
when you understand different process, different tools, techniques, okay, then the expectation is that you should be able to write SRS. So
Yes,
if you're able
ours.
to write BRDs and SRS, you know, you are truly like a BA. Now, writing document is one, right? Just say right tools and techniques is one, but more important is asking the right kind of question and passing on that info to the technical. That's the challenge. Okay, that's what separates good BA from bad BA. Now you can come up with your own technique. Okay, as long as technical team is able to understand, you don't have to follow the standard which I'll be talking about. You don't have to follow the process which I'll be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you can simplify it, if you can better it, see, it's all about part of human understanding. If I'm able to understand what you are saying, that is enough for me, right?
That's
You
right.
don't have to speak, let's say, great French to communicate with a French person. So same thing here. If you're able to simplify and input in terms of flow charts and diagrams, you know, in some kind of bullet points, it's up to you how to put it. Ultimate goal is that should the technical team should understand. Okay, so that becomes your SRS. From SRS, you start coding. You come up with the final solution. Okay, that one stage is your project management stage. Okay, that is not shown here because BAs at that stage are you are involved. Okay, you are uh, what you do is you are uh, sitting with them. Okay, not really literally sitting with them, but you are available for phone call. Let's say if I have a question about the process, I should be able to reach you and talk to you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no action item from your side. It's so that's why it's not shown here. Now the solution is built, then again you come back into picture. You have to assess and validate if the requirements that has been developed by the technical team is as per what you had said, right?
That's
So
right.
um, that's where there is overlap between BA and QA. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this presentation assumption is that QA has already done its role, and you are kind of validating the QA role. So while technical team is developing the software, the QA team will talk to you to come up with test report. Okay, what kind of testing should we do? What should be the input? What should be the output? Those kind of things. So by the time software is ready to be tested, these documents are also ready by the QA person. QA is responsible, but they have taken the input from you, and that's when the QA will test it, and you will do the final test, and then you create the test plan. And once that is approved, you say that the application is ready. it goes in, then you will deliver it to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So at a high level, these are the process from BA perspective. Okay? And after a couple of slides, we'll talk about the whole process. But this is what a BA would do.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Okay? Yeah. Okay. So this is just a concept traceability. What it says is you start from business needs. So when you're performing analyze the enterprise, that's where you get the business need. Okay. From business need, you derive vision and scope. From vision and scope, you derive BRD, business requirements. From
mm-hmm.
big from BRD, you derive SRS, software
SRS.
requirement specification, right? So these are kind of document which is dependent on each other, right? So what traceability says is anything written in SRS, okay? When you talk about SRS, any technical thing that you mention in SRS has to have a link to requirements, and that should have link to vision and scope, should have link to business need. Business need could be just one sentence or two sentences at max. You don't club multiple business need in one document. Okay, what is if you have multiple business need, you have different projects going on in parallel. So one or two line of business need that can get converted into maybe four lines of vision and scope. That those four lines of vision scope can get converted into 10 lines of or 20 lines of requirements. Those 20 line requirements could be converted into say 100 lines of SRS, right? So what it says is there cannot be even one SRS which cannot be traced back to business need. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
forward and backward traceability. So you cannot have a vision and scope feature which cannot be traced back to specification. So to read this, and small this thing will help. I'll just show you. So let's say pen. So let's say you have two business need. Okay, you come up
Mm-hmm.
with three vision and scope. You come up with four, five requirements, and you come up with
Requirements.
okay. Let's say technical. Each of these has to be linked. Okay, it can be linked to
Mm-hmm.
two. That's also fine. Okay,
Yeah,
but has to be linked. Okay, it has to be linked. Okay, now you see a technical requirement here, specification here, which is
yes.
not linked to any of these. What it
Mm-hmm.
means is that you have a technical requirement which is not linked to business need. That means this should not have been done. What we are doing is wrong. If it is
Mm-hmm.
not linked to the business need, why even add it here, right? So you cannot have
Yeah,
it hanging here without being traced back to the business need. That means it's not affecting your business need. So it is not relevant. You should not put it. Every
yeah.
technical specification has to be traced back to business need.
Business needs. Okay.
The backwards traceability. Same thing,
Mm-hmm.
forward traceability says that business need got converted into scope and feature, right? But
Uh-huh.
this has not been converted into requirement. This is also a problem. Okay, you cannot have something which cannot, a business need which cannot be traced back to specification. That means this is what customer wanted and you are not giving. So it's
That's
like
right.
this. I'm talking about a topic. I'm just just giving an example from training perspective. I have included something in my training which is not related to BA at all. So
Mm-hmm.
the point here, what it says is, why did you include that? That is not going to solve the business need of learning BA, right?
That is
So
right.
if that is
Yes.
not going to solve the business need of BA, you are wasting the time and effort, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, if there is a BA topic which has not been covered, forward traceability, then there's something the customer wants and you are not delivering it. That is also not accepted. Okay, so as a DA, when you are talking about requirements or SRS or vision scope, you have to make sure that each and everything is linked
Links
to
to
business
business
need.
needs. Mm-hmm.
Now, see, what happens is customer will come to you, and you're talking about, let's say, improving um, loan application, and customer will come and tell you that, we are having problem with our payroll. We are, sometimes we get less salary, sometimes we get more salary, and there's a big mess with the payroll. Can you please fix the payroll? Your answer should be that is out of scope, right? Business
Mm-hmm.
need, when we identified for this project, our business need said we need to improve our loan processing application, not payroll. And what you're talking is related to payroll, which is really not important at this
That's
point of
right.
time. See, from criticality, that is important. Okay, no doubt. Payroll is critical piece, right? But for your project, that is not relevant. That is out of scope.
Mm-hmm.
So that you have a separate project to handle that. You cannot handle the same problem here. You know, people start requesting. When you start talking to people, when you're doing elicitation, when you're performing illustration, that's when people will start talking to you and start telling you to do more. But then you have to stop and say, no, we cannot. That's not part of what we are doing currently. Let's take up as a different project.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, as a BA, you cannot miss any of these business need or vision and scope feature, because if you miss it, and when you are giving back the solution to the customer, and customer's business need is not achieved, they will say project has failed. Of course, correct. So you have to be careful about when you are doing this. This is just a concept which says that everything has to be linked, and in the document you would link. So let's say if you are talking about business need, you'll probably write a serial number B1, B2, B3. But when you're writing vision and scope, you can say V1 is linked to B1. Vision 1 is linked to business need 1.
Business
V2
new
is linked to, yeah. And similarly, when you go to requirement, generally you have F1, F2, functional, non-functional requirement. So you will say F1 is linked to V1.
one.
And SRS, let's say you're talking about S1, so you'll say S1 is linked to F1, S2 is linked to, and it can, see, you can have one pointing to two, that's fine, that's not a problem. Okay, you can have one requirement linked to two SRS specification, two specification linked to one, but everything has to be covered. Okay, so that's the concept of traceability.
Traceability. Okay.
Okay, so this slide talks about how to develop a BA function. So if you're as a company, if you are uh, having, like, planning to have a BA, this is how you should develop. First is design the BA role. Okay, what is BA supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need a BA? So identify the activities or the you call them design the BA function. So identify the work that BA would be doing in your company. Once you identify the functionality, then you would start recruiting based on your job. So sometimes what happens, and not sometimes, I think every time, what you should do is when you are looking for job change, okay, don't have a fixed resume. Okay,
Uh-huh.
change your resume based on the job profile. Okay, I'm not saying that change it drastically. When you're saying something and drastically you're changing, but the language that you are writing, especially, try to match to the job description.
Job description. Yes.
Right? Most of the time, it will be machine who might do the automatic pickup matching, or it could
Mm-hmm.
even be a HR person who probably doesn't have time to read through your resume and understand.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? They'll have
Filter it out.
hundreds of resume. Yeah, tired to do that. Okay. So what they will see, they will read your resume, and if if she's able to, if she or he is able to pick up those keywords and related to that, you would get, resume would get shortlisted. Not like
Mm-hmm.
a drastic, like, once you are saying that I have worked in healthcare for 5 years, and next you are saying 15 years. I mean, not that, but the way you write, try to include the same sentences. For example, in job profile, if they say the candidate should have experience of handling large project, so you say I have handled large project. You know
Mm-hmm.
that kind of what I'm saying. So if you do that, the HR or the machine will think, oh, there's a perfect match, and chances of your interview calling for interview is much higher. So change your resume for every job profile. It takes you 10 to 15 minutes, not more than that. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Spend time and have a customized resume. You have your own first main resume, right? Which probably
Yeah,
when somebody calls you, go take print and. But when you're submitting it online, customize it to that
depending on the
point, and then
business.
you submit.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to include same kind of wordings and things like that. Okay, so one BA you hire, then you need to train the BA for your work, right? So BA can be experienced BA, have all the knowledge about say pharma company, but what is the process for which you are hiring? So that process needs to be, you need to train the BA, right? So you train the BA and then identify different tools, techniques, or access to some websites, or what kind of tools they need, some kind of templates. So you give them those templates. So if it is like access to paid site, you have to pay money and give the access to BA, right? So that they can get those data from those websites. So if you're dependent on Gartner report to plan your like future stuff, you need to have access to Gartner website. Only then you'll be able to get the latest information. Okay, you need some templates. You need to so all of these documents that we saw as a BA, you'll be handling a lot of documents. So every document should have a template. And why do we need template? So that one, it's easier for person who's following the template. They know what will come at what place in the resume. And second, um, all the documents will look same, right? If you have a single company and if you do not follow any document structure, then when you look at a document, you may not know whether it's your own company document or some other company's document, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a template. So no, okay, this is my company, my department. Okay, so you will be able to, it's easy to identify and relate to. Okay, and if everybody is comfortable with template, then I know what you're trying to do at each page, right? Otherwise I have to read harder and not able to understand, again call you, and I may not get the relevant information. So that's why it's always better to have some kind of templates. If it is not there, build it. Okay, download it from internet, or and assign a couple of people to build that template. And then finally, the BA is ready to work, and you monitor the performance, right? So performance is not about it's of course it's about individual performance, but just to see if they are facing any problem, challenge, or they need any kind of support or help. So this is how a business analysis function can be established in a company. These are and see which is important. There are some topics which is good to know, right? And some topic probably you need to know for your interview perspective. So those topics I'll spend time. Something which is good to know, I'll just tell you and I will skip. Okay.
Okay.
So this is another good to know. This is like the different roles of BA. You start as a business system analyst, not as a business analyst. Business analyst, as I said, is more from uh, customer requirement illustration perspective. So maybe in your case it's different. Okay, you will not be given system analyst role. You will be given BA role instead directly. But
Mm-hmm.
somebody as a fresher who's going to start generally starts as a system analyst. So they work closely with BA, and the BRD which you create is created into SRS by the system analyst. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
they hardly talk to customer. They talk to main BAs for their input, and they talk to customers. They talk to sorry, the technical person. SDLC is software development life cycle. So they are involved along closely with the technical people. They create SRS. Then you become, after some few years of experience, you become system business analyst. And business analyst is when you start going out, talking to customer, getting the requirement, you know, and creating BRDs. And this is probably the longest duration, okay, in terms of work. Then you become business architect. Okay, business architect, you're still not involved in analyze enterprise, but post that whatever happens, right? Okay, what do you need? Okay, what kind of support is needed to perform analyze the enterprise? Okay, um, You need to talk to market research guy. You need to have some teams. You need to create vision and scope. I have to talk to different departments. All those things are done by the business architect. Okay, so it says developing the business architecture and process architecture, high level business need analysis. High level business need. Actual business need is done by the enterprise analyst. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the senior most people is responsible for performing the analyze enterprise thing. Okay, yeah. So we'll move ahead. Okay, so this is one important chart, and since you come from non-IT background, it you will like it because this talks about the how IT industry works. Okay, and probably all the other industry would work in similar fashion, but this slide is designed from IT perspective. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the first person in the chain is the owner. Okay, owner could be of company owner, business owner, or it could even be the department owner, right?
Uh-huh.
Owner means that person is responsible for profit and loss of that department, right? The department owner. Now, as a BA, you go and say that we need to do a couple of projects, right? So his answer will be, question will be, when you're performing analyze enterprise, question will be, why should I invest so much on this project? What benefit is it going to give me? Right? So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, when you even talk about improving, say, employee satisfaction score, for example, right? Employee satisfaction score, okay, let's say it's very bad and retention, you're facing problem with retention, okay. So you said, okay, next 6 months of 1 year, let's focus only on employee retention. We are doing good with customer, but our employee retention, let's focus only on that. Okay, for example. Now, to do employee retention, okay, you need to you'll come up with 4 or 5 projects, okay, and those 4 or 5 projects, let's say your estimated cost is about $1 million, let's say. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as a owner, they're not going to give you $1 million for doing something. They'll say, what benefit will it give me? Okay, from finance perspective, it should give me more than $1 million benefit, right? They'll say, okay, with $1 billion and these processes, we will be able to
Taking the
retain.
time.
Yeah, so and so you cannot retain 100% of employees, right?
Uh-huh.
And you will say, okay, these are our retention is currently our let's say turnover. Let's say our turnover is currently at 20%. At one in every 10 and 1 in 5 people are leaving. But with these processes in place, probably no, not probably. You have to be confident because there's nothing called probability in business, right? At least from when you're doing the planning. So you said this will help us to improve our score by 20 points, and our retention or the turnover, employee turn, will fall from 20% to 12%. Okay, with 8% improvement, we'll be able to retain, say, 30 people in a year, and we are spending, um, so much of a dollar for hiring one person. Let's say if person leaves, you need to do the job posting, interview, you know,
Train
um,
them and all that stuff. Yes.
train them. So there's a lot of time that lapse and that will have a impact on your business, right? And
Mm-hmm.
also the money that you'll be paying to the equipment companies and things like that. So you are spending on, let's say, about $2 million in a year on these activities. So you say that if we do that, our retention will increase and our turnover will fall from 20 to 12%, and this will have a impact of $2 million on our business. Now, $2 million impact, for that you will say, okay, fine, I'll spend $1 million. I'll give that project. Now, if the
Mm-hmm.
benefit is for less than $1 million, then you'll say, no, this is not a good proposal. Go back and redo the proposal, right? Of course, the benefit has to be more than the cost, right? Otherwise, why will you
That's
do
right. Yeah.
the project, right? So the red lines that you see on each of the stage are the BA's responsibility, and the green lines is that person that that role's responsibility. So when talk about owner, owner will define the measure of success and targets. So owner will say, okay, tell me what factors it will improve. Okay, the measure of success. How do I? So once the project is done, okay, how do I know the project is successful or not? Right? Give me the measure of success. So one measure of
Mhm.
success is turnover. Okay, target, and also not just the factors but the values. So you'll say, okay, turnover, current value 20%, target 12%. Okay, cost on training currently, employee hiring cost currently, 50,000. And it's a 2 million. After this project, we come down to 1.5 million. So there's 50, 500K saving there, right? So like that, you will mention three, four factors which will be impacted. Okay. So once, and you see the last line, post implementation, right? So once it is implemented, you go back to the starting point again and see if you have met all those targets or not, right? So now let's say your target was to have an employee turnover reduced from 20 to 12. Okay, but when you implemented this process, your revenue increased by 5%. Okay, but turnover could only come down from 20 to 12, 15, not to 12. Then you will say that this was a failed project,
Mhm.
right? Project failed. You could not meet the target,
Targets.
right? For example, you are here for BA training. Let's say if I make you perfect in Java programming, you are perfect in Java, that's fine. But that's not what you want to do. That's not what you are here, right? So everything that you do has to be along the ways of making you perfect in the goal that you have set for yourself. As a company, you want to reduce the employee turnover from 20 to 12. Okay, other things will happen, but your focus, that is the important focus. This is where you want to do, right?
Mhm.
So if you are not able to meet that goal, then you'll say the project has failed. It was a failed project. Okay, and as this level, business analyst will confirm, will talk to the different, the team that is going to perform analyze enterprise, document in and give it to the owner, so that later when project is done, owner can relook at the document and compare the targets and measure. Okay, so that's about owner. Owner is the one who's going to pump in money, and they will only give money when they know that they are going to get more than they are giving it to the business, right? And it is the role of BAs to justify the investment. Then comes strategist. So okay, so owners are happy. They target with the targets, and they say, okay, I'm going to give you money. Let's go and do the project. So this project has a budget of $1 million. They literally don't give you a budget. They'll assign $1 million for the project. Now comes
Mhm.
the actual work that needs to begin. You have strategists. Strategists are like industry experts. Again, the senior BAs. These are also kind of BAs. Uh, uh, Once they have achieved um, like years of experience, they become strategists. So they design the strategies. What strategy company should adopt? What should HR team do? What should product development team should do? What finance team should do? So they'll create some of these strategies, and as a BA, you're working with the strategist to do the market research. Look at what competition is doing. Okay, so everything that we spoke about external factors is done here. Okay, and here strategies, when you're designing the strategy, you can say that, oh, it's not possible.
Mhm.
Okay, one second, I got a message to reply. Okay, so you are looking at the external factors and creating a strategy. And while creating a strategy, if you feel that it's not achievable, you should say it that no, idea looks good, but we do not have a strategy. Otherwise, you don't want because sooner you realize that you have problem, better it is for,
There.
yeah, for the company,
Job.
because
Yes.
yeah, you're able to save a lot of money, right? So yeah, so that's what the strategist will do based on the input from BA. So here, BA is, as a BA, you are again very active. Then you have sponsors. Now, strategies are designed. Then sponsors. So the owner is not going to track every dollar that is being spent. What they will do, they'll assign sponsor for each of the program. Okay, and the strategy could result into three programs, four programs. One of them could be software project. Okay, other two, three could be some other business processing, realignment, things like that project. So every project will have a sponsor. So the responsibility of the sponsor is to make sure that the project is within the budget. Okay, that's the only responsible. Make sure that project is within the budget and you are not spending more than what is asked, right? So, for example, if you said 1 million project, $1 million for the project, and you are midway, then you should have spent only 500K, right? So those
Mhm.
kind of things, and they are the ones who will actually control dollar, right? When dollar should be released, should it be paid or not, right? You want to go for team outing, sponsor will say, yeah, we have budget for team outing, let's go for team outing, and things like that. So every penny is controlled by the sponsors here. So they establish a program. Okay, they'll say, okay, this is a program. This is the program manager, project manager. These will be the BAs who will go and actually talk to customer. So those program is set by overlook. They basically they assign a program office, program manager, and they take care of everything else. Okay, because program managers are responsible for from technical perspective. Sponsors are responsible for finance perspective. Okay, so establish a program and this based on the strategy, and they as a BA you'll be talking to them and creating documenting the requirements for the project, your table of requirements for that project. Okay, and then you build a business case for that particular project only. Okay, so you'll say, okay, this is the timeline, these are the deliverables from the project, this is the cost, and you can even talk about how the cost will be spent. First few months probably cost will be low, but slowly as you hire more people and do a lot more work, the cost might increase, right? So all this monthly, at month level you will be creating the strategy, and so the sponsors will every month check, are you on that, based on what you created, your monthly strategy, are you meeting those strategies or not, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's the role of sponsor. Then you have the program managers. From here the technical thing starts. Program managers are responsible for overseeing multiple projects. Okay, multiple projects will be available. Okay, okay, so multiple people, or right, so multiple projects. So we spoke about, right, project, the definition of project. So there could be multiple projects in the same program, or you can have multiple projects under which will fall under same program office, right? So the advantage of creating a program office is that there's one person who has an eye on each of these projects. Now, as a project manager, you are responsible for completing your project on time and on budget, right? So, as a project manager, you are responsible for doing your work. You are really not bothered about what's happening outside, in your organization, because you are busy doing your work. You have pressure. You have to complete the task within the given, timeline,
Year of time, yes.
right? But let's say someone from your team quit, or let's say your project has run into some trouble, right? With whom will you go to? So you go to program manager.
Mhm.
No, so so program manager, since they track each and every project, they know, okay, this fellow, has run into problem, and this kind of problem can be solved by person A who's working on project D. So you'll request the project manager of project D to give that person to this project for couple of weeks. Okay, so all this management is done by the program office. Somebody leave, has left the organization, so and that project is critical. There's another project probably which has more people on bench, or project is doing good in timeline. They'll say, okay, can we put that people from that project to this project. Meanwhile, we'll hire a new person to do that job. So that's the role of project manager, to make sure that all the projects are completed on time and within the budget. Okay, as a program manager, that's your role. And if any project manager is facing any problem, you need to support them so that the project is not affected or not
Mhm.
impacted. Okay, so as a BA, not much role here. You just tell them the requirement which is given by your sponsor, right? So the program manager will talk to project manager and keep track of what's happening. So that tracking is based on what you have created in the requirement document before, right? So like say at end of month one, this is what the output would be. Month of two, this is output. Month of three, this is output. So every month you'll ask manager to send you, or probably every week you'll ask project manager to send you. So you'll be getting those weekly reports from 10 project managers, and they so you don't go through all the 10. So what they will do is they'll have color coding scheme. Okay,
Uh-huh.
green means you are doing good. Yellow means there is a chance, there is a risk of slippage or falling behind. And red means you have fallen behind, supposed to complete it, but you have not completed. So the project manager will look at all these charts, look at the colors, and oh, there's a red here. Then that they'll to go and talk to that project manager. As long as you're putting everything green, project manager may not come to you. Okay, the moment he or she sees yellow or red, that's when they start getting deeper into that project. Okay, then you have project stakeholders. Project stakeholders are mostly not okay. So I should not use what the word mostly. Stakeholders are your customers for whom you are doing the project. Okay, so if you're a TCS, then probably it will be outside your company. If if you are a Bank of America, you want to do project for yourself. Okay, then the business people would be the stakeholders, and technical people will be your design analysts and solution builders. So these are people who is going to use your final solution. So if you are
Mhm.
delivering a loan management software, the guys who call customer and who is going to enter data into loan management system, they become your project stakeholders because their project is at stake, and they come in to answer your questions. So BA will ask them, what exactly do you need to build this software? Okay, so your illustration starts from here, and this is the crucial part from in the whole process from BA perspective.
Mhm.
Okay, from BA point of view, this is crucial for the success of the project. Okay, and you are responsible for making sure that this project gets the right kind of requirements, right? So yeah, and then design analysts are the ones who will convert your business requirement into technical requirement. Then solution builders are the ones who are going to build your solution, the coder. Then you have solution builders and testers actually. So they are the ones who are going to test your solution. So design analysts, solution builders, testers, and so these three are technical people who are going to deliver the solution based on your BRD. So at these three stages, you're not doing as a BA anymore, but you're monitoring. See, ultimately, after 6 months, if you see there's some problem, then it'll take some time to fix it. So, but if you're monitoring them on weekly basis or 2 weekly basis, right, then you can see, oh, there's that person is deviating or the project is deviating from its original goal. Okay, so that's when you will be able to
Intervene.
um manage it. Okay. Um, then comes your project managers. So, I mean, though the name is last, but they get involved right after program office, and they make sure that everybody is doing their job. BA and project manager would, would be talking and would be making sure that project is aligned and it's everybody is working on time. So they also decide how many design analysts do we need, how many QA people do we need for the project, what kind of skill set do we need, right? So all those things are done, and and finally project manager will say, here is your solution. So project manager will give you the final solution. Now you will test on your behalf, right? So the you have something called a user acceptance test, UAT. The user, the end person who's going to use your software, the stakeholders, will have their own way to test it. Okay, so let's say when you go to buy your phone from store, right? Let's say you're buying an iPhone, the Apple would have done its own testing, right? Without testing, they would not launch the product. But still, you would want to touch, feel, see the clarity of camera and things like that. That is from your own perspective, that is it meeting your requirement or not, right? Not that you doubt the testing of iPhone, right? So that is called UAT, user acceptance test. But that doesn't mean that even after you test, the product will be perfect. Once you start using, you'll realize there's some problems, right? And then you have customer care who's going to fix it. So similarly, from user perspective, what is important for you, you will test it. Okay, for you, clarity is important, so probably you'll take few pictures, you like the clarity, you'll buy it. Okay,
Mhm.
and later you find problem with the messaging or calling, you will call the customer care and get it fixed. So same thing in software. The user will perform that user UAT based on what is important for them and accept the solution. Okay, and then post implementation means, they start using it and they'll have some challenges initially. Every software will have some challenges for first few months, 3 months or so. There you'll have to fix some problem, things like that. And then after 3 months, your solution is in use. So you would not see benefit, you won't get within first month or 3 months, right? You might realize the benefit after 1 year or something, after 6 months. But you have to measure it to understand how the system is behaving. Let's say first 6 months you are getting benefit, your retention or turnover is falling down. Okay, from 20 it became 18, 17, 16, 15, and after some time again it's becoming 16, 17. So you want to know why, so is there something wrong here, should we fix it? It's going down, down, down. After 6 months became 12%, so you have reached your target. Reaching target is not important, but maintaining is also important, right? So that's why post implementation becomes important from management perspective. So you have a different team which is actually involved in post implementation work. So this is how an IT company works, and different people, different roles are aligned to deliver a solution. So what I'll do, I'll take pause for a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
You go through this process, try to understand, what each of these things does. And if you have a question, ask me. If you are saying okay, we'll move to next slide. Okay, take a couple of minutes to go through this.
basically in every step, the BA puts their role. I mean,
Sorry. Yeah.
right. I mean, in every steps, the BA
Yes,
has some role
yes,
to do.
yes. So BA is the only person who's involved at every step. Okay.
Mhm.
The reason being, the BA role has been created for one purpose. Okay, and when we get into requirements, you will see that BA role has been created for one purpose, to make sure that communication is consistent across a different division or different people. See, as a BA, you are, apart from communication, there's no big role of you. Okay, everybody is responsible. Everybody is busy with their work. They're writing coding. They are developing whatever financial plan or project plan or testing. Okay, they what so if BA, if you remove BA from this picture, there is no communication which will keep them consistent, and that what is the problem. Okay, communication is the problem in the world today. Communication is the bigger problem, right? That's why
Mhm.
we need to have the people who make sure that everybody is working based on same plan or based on same assumption. Okay,
Mhm.
and the message is, so even though you are not actually involved or doing anything when project is being implemented, when design analyst or solution builder or tester they're working, but you are there to see if they are working based on the plan that you have created. So they are working really on the BRD. Okay, and if something goes wrong in the communication, right, whether it's talking to customer or talking to internal people, you will be held responsible. Okay,
Mhm.
tester will say this is what was my test plan and I tested the based on test plan. The test plan is not right, you are responsible.
You're responsible.
Technical people will say, this is what was told to code, I coded it, right? If that coding is not alignment because the document has some problem or had something which is, see, one thing is putting it something wrong. Okay, so let's say you understood wrong if you put it wrong. Second thing is you did not put it completely. You have not thought about all the scenarios. You probably thought about just three scenarios. I will talk about the scenarios, the three, scenarios. And but customer is using fourth or fifth scenario which you have not talked, we have not discussed. So software developer will say you gave I was given three scenarios and developed two scenarios. So they'll come back to you that why didn't you ask for fourth and fifth scenario, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
communication across different people is the main job of BA. BA is the
Me.
only person who will talk to everybody, right
Oh.
from QA, tester, implementation team, to even sometimes with CEO. Okay, CEO. Uh, uh, I mean, of a big company, probably not, but small company, yes, department head. So you are the one who's talking to everyone, customer, internal people, senior, junior, everyone.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
good to go.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Oh, the slides are not changing. Okay. So these are some of the roles of BA. Okay, title, of BA. What it says is, these are the different types of role that you can expect as a BA in IT industry. Okay, you would be doing business case development. Okay, business case development means on the part of the strategy and the NS enterprise kind of thing, right? So you're talking about what all needs to be done, what are different solution approach, is it feasible, can we do it, okay, how much cost it will involve, what is the benefit that you will get. So all these are part of business case development. So you could be doing business case development, you could be doing requirements management. So requirements management is talking to customer, getting the requirements and documenting it. UAT. We spoke about UAT, right? So you could be involved at UAT. So, you are at that last phase of handing over the project to your customer. End user training. So not only handing over, but also make sure that they use your product in right way, right? So let's say you deliver a project to customer, but customer is not using it correctly. They'll blame you that they are not getting the required benefit from the solution. So in kind of SAP kind of implementation where it's so expensive software and it is that they you also help them to train or learn your solution and help them to train so that they use it in a right way, right? They use it in a best possible way, okay, right? So that they are able to use the solution right way and get benefit out of it, correct? Then working with QA team, making sure that they are using, they are testing the right way. Stakeholder management plan. Who's your stakeholder? With whom you'll be talking to? What kind of questions will you ask them? When will you ask them? Identifying the stakeholders. So these are your stakeholder management plan you'll be working on. Requirement illustration is talking to the stakeholders and getting the requirements. Access solution design. So when the analyst, design analyst, they create the design, you want to visit and make sure that it is in alignment with your business, in alignment with your business or your strategy that you have.
Mhm.
KPI modeling, key performance indicator. Okay, KPI stands for key performance indicator. So these are like based on every project. Okay, so every project will have some key performance indicator, right? So if you are doing employee retention kind of project, okay, then the employee retention or say employee turn itself is a key KPI. I mean, we say key twice. We say key KPI. It's key performance indicator. So it's actually KPI is to make sure that you are able to track your progress, right? If you are not able to track your progress, let's say about the same training that you are doing, let's say BA training. Now you joined this class 2 days back, and after a month, let's say I tell you a class is done. So tell your class is done. How do you know that you have got benefit from this class? How do you rate this class, right? You will not
Mhm.
rate this class based on how good was the internet, right? That's not the purpose. It will depend upon how good are you with your BA skills, right?
That's right.
So,
Yes.
right. So, what I do, I tell my participants is that start looking for job description. And this is not the right. Don't apply right now, but start looking for job description. Okay. When you go to the job description, when you and not just one, but 10, 20 job description. Start going through those job description and identify the things that you already know and things which you don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
before training, if you do it in next 1 or 2 days, probably out of 100 bullet points that you would have got, probably you would know 20 of them. Probably 80, you don't know what those 80 things are, right? So your performance in the interview, assuming that they ask you the same questions, is about 20% before you take the class. After you take the class, after you take the class, when I say we are done with the class, then you should probably know 80% of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's indicate the performance of this class, saying that okay, this class brought me from 20% to 80%.
80%. Yeah.
And those 20% which you still don't know, that should become your doubt to ask me that, Gaurav, we have done this class, but still I have some questions. These are the questions which still don't understand, right? That would become the post even doubt, and you should do that. So that's the every process that you do, every thing that you spend your time on, you evaluate what you know. Now, see, this 1 hour that you're spending with me, you could do 10 things, right? You could sleep, you could eat, you could watch TV, you could do a lot of things. Okay, talk to your wife, 100 things you can do. But why are you spending this time to learn this? That should give you much more benefit than doing anything else. That's why you should be doing this activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what KPI modeling is all about. And especially in personal life, we don't think of that much, but we should start thinking. So, what I say is everything that we learn as part of BA can be applied in our personal
Into
lives.
daily life. Yeah.
Okay, and you'll realize that what when we learn new things, you can say, oh, this can be imply can be used, we can apply in our real lives. But thing is, business, the stakes are much higher. In personal life, it's not. Sometimes it's, well, sometimes the stakes are high, not always stakes are high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So KPI will tell you what are the key performance indicator, and you need to identify this before you start doing the project. Not after the BA is done, then you go back and so what happens is, after project is done, you go back and you see that 50%, then I would say that, see, you knew 0% before, and now you know 50. So I have improved from 0 to 50. But if you say that, oh, I already knew 40 and class gave me only 10% more, right? So then that's how you can actually measure. So you should do it one before start of the project, and second one after
After the
ending the
project.
project. Okay. Then, and see, this will help you to measure. Not It's not to rate my teaching. That's not the purpose, but to know how effectively you have utilized those time. Right. And sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
even for us, not always to you know judge others, but also to us that okay, I've used 30 hours to learn something which has actually helped me to learn. Okay. So yeah, and also, if things are not covered, ask me, right? So when because let's say when class is done, then probably it will be difficult to find a time, right, to come back. So that's what I do is, there are additional topics which I told you, right? We'll be doing some additional topics other than the BA topic itself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once BA topic is done, okay, there will be 3-4 days additional classes which I'll be taking of related topics. And purposely I do it after BA class, not before BA class, is that you get those 4 days to revise, go through different job profiles, okay, go, and then you ask me that, Gaurav, these are the few things which I saw on the site of saw on this that job description. Can you explain me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I'll explain you. If not class, maybe I can give you some point where you can understand or read more about it, right? So those 4 days are mostly for clearing your doubts, and purposely we're also learning something new. Okay, so yeah, do that. That is very effective. Look for job description.
Job
Okay,
description.
now,
Okay.
and when you look at job description, also look if that is relevant for you or not. Okay, if it is not relevant, uh, then you can probably ignore or still include it, because let's say, for example, location is in Canada. For example, location is in Canada. That is
Mm-hmm.
not relevant for you, but the job description is relevant. You probably may not apply for that job, but then the description, what it says, is relevant. So you should
Mhm.
include that. But let's say location is same city as your wife's, but it talks about something totally different which is not related to you. Don't include that. Okay. And when you start giving interview, couple of interviews you give for those which you are not interested in. Okay,
Mhm.
because that will build your confidence. Okay, see what happens in sometimes in our life, when we don't get something, we don't feel bad, but there are few things we don't get, no, we feel really bad. Now if there's a job which is in your wife's city and is exactly your match, and for some reason you don't make it, you will really feel bad, right?
Mhm.
Something that you really wanted to do and you could not. And there's some opportunities when you fail, you don't think anyway was not interested. So what happens is when you take two three interviews of things which you are not really interested in, you will know where you stand, right? You'll be able to
Mhm.
improve, and you will not mind losing out those opportunities, right? Even if they are not selected, you get rejected. That's fine. So, but you will know where you stand. So always say that always your first two three interviews should be something which you are not interested in.
Interesting. Okay.
Then once you know, okay, oh yeah, and then and see, then if what you learn in the class and what is they're asking in the industry are totally different, then you need to know, oh, there is a mismatch. This is not what Gaurav told me. So you either try to reach out to me or maybe to your friend who is already in the BA industry. Somebody, I'm just giving you an example
Mhm.
that you should reach out to somebody who said that, this is what I learn and these are what they're asking the industry. Is my expectation correct? Am I attending right kind of interviews? Right? Or say, no, no, you're right. What Gaurav told you is age old. Those things are not relevant. These things are relevant. So even if that is, I'm just giving an example. Not, I'm not saying that that would be the case. But let's
Mhm.
say even if you hear this, you heard this even before you actually, are into real testing water, right? So it's the idea of BA is that there will be mistakes, there will be problems. Okay, no business can be perfect, but how soon you identify the problem, how soon you are able to course correct your business, right? That is the intention of doing BA. And same thing when you are applying for BA, you should also try to do same thing in life. Before you start, your real test, you should know how well you are performing, how good the things are in the market. What is that they're asking in the market, and then when you are confident, yes or no, everything fell in place, then go all out and start attending interviews. Initially, few things you have to do on your own to learn that, oh, I'm failing, oh, I'm not able to do it. So why I'm not able to do it? If you know it very well, if you don't know it, talk to me, talk to your somebody who's aware of this industry, understand
Uh-huh.
where you are going wrong, work on it, and you'll. So see, and your experience, I don't have to tell you, the more interviews you attend, chances of cracking becomes higher and higher. Agreed?
That's right.
Right? It doesn't really matter how experienced. Even if you have 20 years experience, same profile, first interview, even if the same similar kind of profile, if you go, the first interview, you might fail because there are some things we do it, you know, for doing it, but we may not even remember the exact term, the process, because we are doing it every day, so we don't have to learn those things, right? But in interview, it's more of theoretical thing, right? You may not recollect the term, you may not recollect the things. So they say, oh, sorry, we can't hire you. Then you realize, oh, I have to, interview is different than work, right? And then you start, preparing, and you'll be able to crack second or third interview. So not cracking first. I'm not saying that you will not be able to crack, but I'm just saying that it's not uncommon. Everybody, even with somebody with 20 years experience, can also fail first interview because interview is different and working is different. Because working, we take a lot of things for granted, right? In interview, they want the right, industry terminology, right, industry practices. Those are even see when they ask those things in interview. Doesn't mean that they're following all those things in their work, right? Their work process could still be worse than what you are doing in your current company. But
Mhm.
interview, that's how they ask, right? And interview is all about being idle and doing the best things and things like that. So yeah, so all this is started from KPI, but yeah, this is how you prepare yourself. Okay, look for job
So,
description
I
for
mean, Gaurav, for me, on a technical side, like what should I be, doing on side to make myself
sorry.
more, experience in this? Because let's say if I know this part, but let's say once I get into the market,
Hmm?
obviously on a technical base, what should I be learning more
Okay,
that is required for the BA?
okay. So you will not have, you should not, or you should not see. There are some tech, uh, uh, some things like um, would be, let's say, I'm just giving some names like say Tableau. Tableau is more for data presentation, visualization kind of thing. Then you have tools like Selenium, which is more of QA kind of tool. Okay. Now these tools, if you start to learn, you don't become master in few months. I mean,
Hmm.
training could be 1 month training, but you need, you need to use that tool for 6 months, 1 year to get some knowledge,
Uh-huh.
right? So it is not advisable to learn those tools and put it on the resume, okay? Because anyway, yeah, if you have a long-term plan, let's say I want to, you have a long-term plan that after 2 years, this is what I want to become. Then
Hmm.
learn those tools and and then learn for use it for next 1 year, 2 year, and then you go to market. But if you want to switch immediately, don't focus on things which will take long time to call yourself as master, right?
Hmm.
Selenium, people use 1 year, even still they, they are not master because it's a big complex tool, you know. So things like data analysis, think think from perspective which is relevant for your your profile. So data analysis is about analyzing the data, making the report. You could do it in Excel also, okay, or you can do it in tools like Tableau or SQL or any other thing. Now
Uh-huh.
those tools are more time consuming, so don't get into that. Use Excel to analyze the data. Okay, data analysis is 50% about business, right? So
Hmm.
you are already, so if you perform data analysis, you already know 50% of the interview question. Okay, they'll ask, and I don't know what healthcare, or let me try to answer based on limited knowledge. Um, which is the top three drugs that are sold? Okay,
Okay, okay.
uh, no, just a simple example. Okay, now if you have your data in front of you for last 1 year of what happened in that community, you can easily get the data. How to get the
Hmm.
data is secondary. Okay, but they'll and question could be indirect also. Okay, question could be which kind of drugs. Okay, so in again coming to say supply chain, divide inventory into three parts. Okay, A, B, C
Hmm.
category mostly. A is your expensive drugs. Okay, and where you have to take care of those drugs. Maybe their shelf life is very small. Okay, or you have to store in particular temperature itself. Those
Hmm.
are expensive, right? So you have to have a special care about those drugs. So those
That's
you
right.
classify them as A group, A category. Okay,
Hmm.
where every day you are checking the then you have B category drugs, which are fast selling. Okay, which is of say little importance or no import. I mean not no high importance, but not as high as category A, and not like no importance at all, right? Medium
Hmm.
kind of thing. And your C category could be drugs which are no importance to you in the sense their price is very low, shelf life is very high. I mean, like expiry date is
Yeah.
after 5 years from date of manufacturing, 5 years, 7 years from date of manufacturing, and cost is also low. So those kind of C kind of drugs, you don't care how many are in the stock. You even if you're selling, say, 100 per month, you don't mind stocking 1,000, right? It's okay. Let's get 1,000 and we put it in the stock. Anyway, we'll sell that 1,000 in next, because the expiry date is for 5 years, right? So you can sell it for 5 years.
That's
These
right.
A categories are very expensive, so you cannot order more than what you would sell. So let's say if you
Mhm.
sell 10 uh, uh, such items in 1 month, since yours being a community kind of thing, probably you'll order 15. You don't want to run out of stock, right? So you'll order
Mhm.
15, but you'll not order 100 also, right? Because every
That's right.
month you want to order, because the shelf life is important. If you order more, it might get expired at your this thing. So how do you identify such things? So you will identify based on the cost. So you'll say based on cost. So for this kind of analysis, how do you classify your A category? Which are your important drugs that you are selling? Now, practically speaking, you have to look at the cost, look at how many you're selling every month, right, from the data. But for
Mhm.
interview, you can answer without even looking at the data, right? So, so you already know that thing even before you. So these are like I would say uh, like to like kind of skills. Okay,
Mhm.
data analysis is something which is like because from business side you already know 50% of the answer, right? You just
Yeah.
have to get your hand dirty. But if they tell you in Selenium, how do you fix that script? Your script needs to change to do that. You will not be able to answer. There is some parameter called XYZ, that XYZ needs to be set to 0, right? And probably
Mhm.
even after working for 1 year, you may not understand those things. So I would say don't go into technology which are totally different than yours. Get into things which are related to yours.
Relevant. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, data analysis is one. Try to focus on, because that's what when I'm looking at last couple of years, because along with the student I also look at job description in US and Canada and what kind of BA roles are there. Especially last two
Uh-huh.
years, I'm seeing a lot of data analysis kind of things being added to BA role.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is definitely something that you should practice. QA, no, I would not say. If I'm going to cover bit of QA in this course,
Uh-huh.
which is enough for you. Don't go beyond that.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, a friend of mine who I think he's on QA side, but he was telling me to go and learn all this different stuff on, I mean, technical side. One of them he said was through Sublime Text and all that stuff.
Yeah. See, as I told you, right? QA is also an independent subject like BA. It's not like
Uh-huh.
you have to learn, you need to do a lot of things. But I would not suggest, because see, you are a pharmacist. Use that your experience. Okay, if you learn technical and you'll not become expert in 6 months for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
You will take a year to learn that, and then you're doing something which is, I mean, the pharma is well respected, industry than IT. That's for sure. So why do you want to become a IT techie by learning QA process? No,
That's right. Yeah.
QA is easier than coding. That's true, because you need to learn few tools and you are done. But not change your profile. I would not suggest. And your
Mhm.
profile is something which for which there's a demand, right? It's not something which there's no demand. So you say, okay, you're upgrading your skill to QA. In fact, you'll be
Mhm.
downgrading your skill to QA.
That's
So
right.
yeah, yeah. So no, don't understand the QA process. You need to understand as a BA QA process, but you don't have to be a hands-on QA.
I mean, I was surprised. Did you work for this pharma inventory side and stuff? Because the way you explained me, I was like, I mean, you have some knowledge on it. Because we, like being a manager in community, I know all this stuff, and then we have once a year or twice a year inventory, and we that's how we segregate our stuff.
So actually, what you do, every company does the same thing. Even, um, a TV manufacturer, a car manufacturer would do that. Okay, but so that being in teaching will actually helps you to talk to different people, try to understand different aspect, and you keep building your knowledge on that. So that's why teaching is something which will also enhance your skill,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
As I said, right, when you're doing one particular thing, you become master on that particular stuff. But the A lot of things happening around you which probably we miss, we don't care. But when you're teaching, if I have to teach you, I have to teach you things which I have done and which I have not done also, which my colleagues do, right? I cannot say, oh, see, these are the 10 things I know only requirement illustration. I'm going to talk about only requirement illustration. But that will not work in teaching, right? So you have to learn all the aspect of the BA and everything. And so yeah,
Good. Yeah. So, I mean, if you,
so yeah,
I mean, if you can at least let me know, or I don't know if I gave you my email up here or not, but um, on site, I mean, when I'm home or so, what should I be looking or spending time on? I mean, make myself a little more knowledgeable before I go for the interview and stuff.
right.
On this.
So
So,
yeah, so
those
I
are
think
the
the
things I
first,
would study.
I just said, right, first step is go through job description. Okay.
Descriptions. Okay,
You,
yeah.
yeah, and at least 10 to 20 jobs, even if it's expired job or it's in Canada or in India or wherever, go through job description, which will tell you what all things we have to prepare. Okay.
Mhm.
And then we can, we both can go through that. We can understand, go through it, and see what all things we need to do. But two things which I would suggest which you can do immediately is, there is a mobile app called McKinsey Insight. Okay,
McKinsey. Okay.
McKinsey Insight. So McKinsey is a management consulting company, and they do management consulting in all kind of industry. So
Mhm.
when you download and install this app, the first step is to ask you all the industry that you are interested in. So you can select your industry related to your pharma, or what all industry you are interested in. Select. You can select multiple industry as well, and then you set it. So what happens is they'll keep on sending information, news related to those industry. So read about what's happening in industry. That is one thing that you can do it from today itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Which one did you
Um,
say? Mackenzie one?
Yeah, McKinsey, McKinsey, Insight, INSIGT, SIGHT, Insight.
Okay. Mackenzie Insights. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So install that and you select the industries we are interested in, and try to read 10 15 minutes every day minimum, I would say. And there will be something which is relevant for your industry, so of course you can read more about it. So this is something you can do it from now itself.
Mhm.
Um, then I just say data analysis is something. So probably around that industry of that process also you can start reading like data analysis in healthcare. What kind of analysis people do? So what you
Mhm.
just told me, right? So same analysis you are doing now with more proof, with more of data supporting, right? So what happens is there's a perception about something, that this is what is A class, for example, and then you look at the data, you said, no, this doesn't look like A class. Then you go back to your manager saying that, based on the data, what we felt was not at all important is important, or what we felt was important is not important, right? So those myth or perception can be broken by data, or it can be supported by data, both ways, right? So let's say you and your manager have some disagreement on something. You can look into data and bring that up to show that whether you are right or not. And if you feel that when you do it and you check that you got wrong, you should go and tell the manager that I looked at this, this is what I have done, and what you just said was right.
Was
So
yeah.
right, so then you're supporting your discussion based on the facts. So
Mhm.
yeah, just try to understand what kind of analysis can be done. I mean, what kind of analysis are being done in your field in healthcare. So now, at least from theoretical perspective, you know what can be done. Now, to do that, what kind of input we need, what kind of data we need, would be the next step. Something you're interested in, then see how is that kind of analysis done, what kind of input is required, right?
Mhm.
So these are two things: analysis in your industry, and keep updated with things that are happening in industry. So these two things you can do it immediately. And the third thing would come from third and fourth and fifth action item will come from job description. So there's
Yeah.
something new tool that you need to learn. Okay, is there a new process which will be we need to learn? New technique which I'll probably not be able to cover in the my deck, which is there. So those things will come after, as you go through the job description and I cover the topic. So at the end, the topics which are not covered by me will become your action item 3, 4, 5. We will learn those 3, 4, 5 things.
Hmm.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. So yeah, meanwhile, I mean, all these topics, I would try to go through on my time off, and
Yep.
especially the job description sites and
Yeah. 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 That will build your confidence or will inspire you to learn more. Okay, so
good.
we'll end it
Yeah,
here for today.
for sure. Yeah. And tomorrow, is
We'll
it the
try to
same
meet
time you want to do, or can we start a little early if it's possible?
little early is not possible because I have that supply chain thing,
Okay,
but
okay. Yeah,
we can extend little uh, beyond our regular time if you're okay.
yeah. Okay.
Um, because even the supply chain is also happening at 7 days.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And this is also 7 days, so it's like back to back for me.
Mhm. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, we'll keep the same
Yeah,
timing, and if it's
sure.
okay, then we'll stretch a little bit extra.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Okay.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
then
Thanks,
we'll see.
Gaurav. Yeah, and see you
Bye.
tomorrow then.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.